The way the entertainment industry treats artists is something that is so horrible, and I personally believe that at this point it needs to be studied. For the longest time, animation has been through almost what we call a development hell, where basically it's very much hard to even get your animation ideas taken seriously or even put out in the first place. And I believe that this is shown a lot when it comes to a plethora of different franchises, let alone what we've seen with the Avatar: The Last Airbender. For those who are not aware, earlier this week, at the time of recording this video, April 15th, 2026, the Avatar movie has leaked in its entirety on Twitter. Now, I'm not going to use this as a moral high ground for the folks who have not watched it yet or things of that nature. This video is not about that. What this video is about is the fact that these companies don't take the art seriously enough to even protect it in the first place. And we're going to talk about a whole bunch of different things regarding this whole situation. But not only this, but just how artists are treated in many different industries, from gaming, from movies, from TV shows, from everything that involves art, which I believe was all of those things I just mentioned. People are not taken seriously, and they're just thrown to the wayside whenever profit becomes a part of the question. What it do, Crispy Crew? I make videos upon gaming, hip-hop, anime, films, and just media in general, especially black media. But today is not going to be one of those focuses. Today is going to be a focus on how artists are treated just in the industry as a general, for all the things that I do talk about. If you like watching these type of videos, be sure to like the video, subscribe, and be sure to comment down below what you think some things that they would be able to do to unionize, or even some things that we can do to support the right people and basically to support the right unions so they don't have to continuously deal with things like this. I'm not one that is against pirating, because some people cannot afford just a lot of subscription services in general, let alone Paramount Plus, who's actually owned by an Israeli Trump's Trump friend, like Donald Trump's like one of his closest lackeys is the owner of Paramount now after a recent deal, from my knowledge. So I understand why people wouldn't want to put money towards that platform. But at the very least, what a lot of people wanted, including myself, was for Avatar to be released in theaters later this October. And the most unfortunate thing about that is that Paramount decided to take away that theater experience for us and place it specifically on their streaming platform come October. Mind you, the film is fully finished, so they could have released it sometime this summer, but for some reason they decided to just release it in October, but then not give any promo, don't give any trailers, this, that, and the third. Now, this is not really confirmation, this is speculation. From this point on, this video will be purely my opinion, which is educated from the likes of things that I've heard and read. This movie would have done numbers in theaters just because of recent scenarios of finding out that the Amazing Digital Circus pre-sales for their theater release has already made around like 4 billion or some shit like that. Like, it's actually fucking crazy. But even ignoring that for a split second, do y'all know how fucking big the Avatar fan base is? Trying to put all of those fans just on the platform for one show, most people aren't doing that. You're not going to get the eyes and the money that you think you're going to get. This isn't a move that's going to work. And we've seen how, or seen why, when the movie actually got leaked. Because a lot of these people, if we're going to be honest, we're going to pirate the movie anyway. So they're like, the movie's already finished, and it's right here, and I was going to pirate it anyway. Why not just watch it? And that's what happened with, in my personal opinion, at least from what we see from online discourse, with the plethora of the internet, where many animators have said, and came out and said, yo, please come out and actually support the actual film when it comes out as well, which I'm hoping that this leak kind of pushes Paramount to do this for a theatrical release, because I can only imagine what this movie will be like in theaters. It's hard for me to like sit here and come to terms with the fact that this film probably won't be in theaters, but I have to hope with everything in my power that it does. A lot of studios prefer live audience or live action sequences for their movies, films, TV shows. They prefer this so much more over animation because for some reason they don't see it as the art form that it truly is. Something that can be taken seriously, something that can move people emotionally. They think that it's something that's purely just for children, which, you know how people treat children in America. If it's something for children, then it's not serious. We can't take it seriously. It can't be a good art form. It can't be this. It can't be that. We shouldn't even put any acknowledgement in it. It's not going to make any money, which is just purely false because we've seen what happened with K-pop Demon Hunters just this last year. We've seen what happened with the Spider-Verse films just these last 10 years almost, because I believe that the third movie for the Spider-Verse film is going to be coming out in June of next year. I will be seated. So these movies are coming out during this time, but you got to think to yourself, if all these movies are making so much money, why do you think that is? If you were a studio and you were actually smart, you would come to the conclusions that these movies are doing good because they were marketed well. And on top of the fact that, well, no, K-pop Demon Hunters wasn't even marketed well. That was the fans doing the heavy lifting, right? But at least for the Spider-Verse films, they were marketed well. They had just great stellar animation. They brought unique stories to the table, and they appealed to wider audiences, whether it was for kids or not. These were great and outstanding films that did crazy numbers in the box offices and things of that nature. So you gotta think to yourself, if these films are making money, why not just make more of them? You know, from a business standpoint, it makes more sense to make more films, or at the very minimum, for the few films that you do make that are animated, to put more effort into those, knowing that they can do great in the box office, because we see it happen time and time again. And to take matters even a step worse, to take matters even a step further, or even seeing it from a trying to ditch 2D animation specifically right now. Right now, 2D in the Western sphere, 2D animation is low-key at its lowest in terms of popularity. People want to see everything 3D animated, and I think that's because of Pixar movies. Probably by extension Disney, which we will talk about them in a second as well. But for the most part, it's because of Pixar movies. And this isn't even to say that 3D animation isn't good or anything like that. I think it's good, but there's no balance anymore because the companies that are at control for these things are not putting any priority in 2D animation anymore. But it is unfortunate, right? And many of the artists on the actual film of the Avatar movie have come out and expressed their concerns about the animation industry, or I guess just the film industry, and just flat out just how this whole movie leak is being treated and how they personally feel about it, which are all valid opinions. I'll be putting them up shortly. I won't be reading through them. You can go ahead and pause and read through those yourself, but that's basically what these will be, you know. This also can be extended to Disney right now, as if you don't know what's going on with them boys, apparently they decided to just lay off, like, I want to say somewhere around like 1,000 workers or something like that. So they laid off like 1,000-ish workers for seemingly no reason. Like they didn't gain anything from it at all. Like apparently they just like laid off a bunch of people in like the visual effects department. They laid off all these people just so they can hire them on a movie per movie basis. Which, if you know anything about Disney, that could be, you don't know when your next job could be if that's the case. Because yeah, they release a lot of movies a year, but this really affects Marvel, because a lot of Disney's projects in the last few years, from my knowledge, have been animated, because that's always been their bread and butter. Meaning the next couple of Marvel films that we see that isn't, Doomsday and the Spider-Man movie, because that's the stuff that's coming out this year, are probably going to be lesser scale from what we've already seen because of this. Now, this isn't me saying, oh, the product's going to be worse. This is more of me being concerned about the jobs of the many animators who have worked crazy hard on these films for the last like 6 years, man. It's getting out of hand. Because let's be honest, Marvel has a crazy alliance or reliance on just visual effects as a whole, and it makes sense. You kind of need to do that in order to make the medium that you're making right now. I really hope that those folks get some type of, I wouldn't say compensation, but they find work soon as well in other departments of just the industry, which hopefully can help them out in some shape or form. But it's very, very it's unfortunate that this happened to them. The point of this video that I'm making is that artists, animators, visual effects, literally any type of art that goes into these films that aren't just the actual actors themselves, because no disrespect to them, but they are valued, which I personally say at a pretty decently rate. The people who do stuff behind the scenes, the animators, the writers, screenwriters, all these people, I don't think they get the appreciation and the value that they deserve, not only from the companies, but also from the fans themselves. I'm also guilty of this. This is not a moral high ground. I think it's important that we support these artists so they are not only getting their money, but that they continuously can go back and actually go and make more movies. I think that's the main issue when it comes to this specific leak, is that a lot of these artists, yes, they were prepaid. I'm not even going to deny that they were prepaid, because that's what's a lot of cope that a lot of people try to use to, I guess, pirate them without a second thought, without even thinking first, you know? What you call it? Yes, these people were already paid. However, it's very much important that you support the movie when it comes out on release too, if you really care, which a lot of these folks don't. So it's more of like a lot of these views and ratings that they would have gotten, because mind you, just trying to scroll through Twitter, it's very hard to not get spoiled right now. So imagine how hard that's going to be for the next 6 fucking months. Because of that, a lot of people are going to be tempted to watch the movie if they haven't already, if they were trying to hold out specifically because they didn't want to which specifically if they wanted to support the official release. I feel like unless they put this movie in theaters, they won't be able to salvage just how much money they could have lost, like as a company, you know, if I'm being honest. Because I'm not one to try to put money and capitalism when it comes into like conversations about art. I don't like doing that, but at the very minimum, in this landscape, in this economy, we kind of need to at least consider it, considering how the fact that it's expensive to just live, you know, and I can only imagine what that's like for an artist as well. So it's like, I don't know. I just don't know. With that being said, if you did like this video, be sure to like the video and subscribe. Be sure to deep fry both of those buttons for me. And I don't even know what to ask you to comment down below if you made it to this point. I guess just comment down a star emoji or something, a star and a deuce emoji or something like that. I don't know. Y'all just be sure to have a good day and rest up easy, and well, to put it better simply, to support the official release.